Thank you very much, Mr. Vice President. Judy Al-Harthi from the Leadership International Program at Chatham House. We're all witnessing the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia's visit right now to the White House, and we're hearing about a potential defense pact and new AI agreements. We're hearing also that this partnership will evolve beyond the traditional. What will that look like in the short term and in the long term?
Well, I saw a lot of the press coverage yesterday, and people seemed surprised at the engagement with Saudi Arabia for a variety of reasons. But it's important to remember that the first international trip that the president took under our administration was to Riyadh. We engaged Arab nations directly and immediately, even while we stood without apology with our most cherished ally, Israel. We, as I said, moved the American embassy to Jerusalem. We recognized the Golan Heights. We were told by many sincere voices in international relations that that would result in harvesting the whirlwind, that war would break out in the region. In fact, what broke out was the Abraham Accords. 2020, while the world was wrestling with the worst pandemic in 100 years, we still nevertheless were able to gather on the south lawn of the White House and have two Arab nations normalize relations with Israel. And while I've expressed concerns here during my trip in the UK about the sale of F-35 aircraft to Saudi Arabia, and given that's the most advanced aircraft platform that we have, stealth technology, and I am hopeful the administration will carefully consider the transfer of that technology to Saudi Arabia and take steps to ensure that that technology does not fall into China's hands.
Forgive me, is that your main concern, that China gets access to it as opposed to changing the balance of power?
It is a very real concern because I'm very aware of our military superiority and our technologies, and the F-35 platform is chief among them. But the other part of that is I hope what comes from it is I hope Saudi Arabia will find its way onto the Abraham Accords. That would be a colossal development in the region, and it may well signal, after the horrors of October the 7th and the tragedy of the war the necessary war that Israel prosecuted in Gaza since, it might well herald a completely new season for peace in the region.
Okay, thank you. Here, second up.
My name is Nishan Chilkuri, Chatham House member, and I work for the Daily Mail. Mr. Vice President, you've obviously paid a big price for your commitment to upholding the Constitution. Going into the next election, do you expect to see actions that will challenge it yet again? What are your biggest fears?
Well, let me say I don't know about paying a price. Last Tuesday, and in our country, on November 11th, we remembered people that really pay a price. And but I can honestly tell you that I don't have those concerns. I mean, there always are going to be voices on the fringes of the right and the left. It seems, particularly with social media, that they find megaphones on the right these days more than they found them before. But I have to tell you that the American people that I know just won't have it. It just won't have it. It was one of the reasons why on that day, I remember as I was witnessing with my wife at my side, we had been escorted off of the Senate floor. The Secret Service wanted me to leave the building, but I was determined to stay at my post and finish our work. By God's grace, we did. But I remember looking at that small television set, seeing people smashing windows and assaulting police officers, and I just found myself thinking, not this, not here, not in America. And particularly not the people of our movement. I will maintain to you that the people that engaged in violence and vandalism on that day did not represent even much more than a fraction of the people of our movement, people that I was among for 20 years and 4.5 years as a candidate and as a vice president. Those people love our institutions. The American people, I think, are the most generous, most patriotic, most God-fearing, innovative people the world's ever known. And they're going to hold our country to account in the days ahead.
Thank you. I'm going to take another one here, front row.
Jonathan Rugman from Channel 4. I wanted to ask a question about a former resident of Indiana, actually, the journalist Jamal Khashoggi, who was a student there. Yesterday, the president said that the Saudi Crown Prince knew nothing about the killing of Jamal Khashoggi. Do you believe that? And did you see evidence to the contrary when you were in the White House, given that the subsequent intelligence assessment, which was published, said otherwise?
I would not have said that. Beyond that, I would not. I think the president also praised his record on human rights. Look, there's.
Just to be clear, you would not have said that the Crown Prince knew nothing about it.
Well, I really can't speak to intelligence that I was exposed to.
Well, President Biden published the assessment.
But what I can tell you is that I would have not have made that statement. And I think part of foreign policy, you've talked about it here for 100 years at Chatham House, you got to take the world that you find. And you got to make relationships with sovereigns as you find them. And so I do think the relationship with Saudi Arabia is one that we need to find a way forward on. But I think it's very important that we never cast aside. We never cast aside our deep commitment to freedom, to the freedom of the press, to and I can tell you, I just simply, I would have, had I been given the opportunity to be sitting in that right-hand chair in front of the fireplace, that meeting would have gone a little different.